Welcome in. Right now, across the restaurant industry, owners are facing a perfect storm: skyrocketing operating costs, crippling labor shortages, and the impossible challenge of staying profitable while keeping quality high. And for too many operators, the answer has been more micromanagement, more hours, and more stress. But this paper argues there is a smarter path forward. Today, we are unpacking the 2026 Ideal Restaurant Management Incentive Plan, a highly requested research piece built around a clear three-step framework. The story here is not just about paying bonuses. It is about building a system where managers think like owners. Owners can step back from daily operations, and the restaurant becomes easier to scale. So if you've ever asked yourself how to keep great managers, protect the guest experience, and actually grow profits at the same time, this one is for you. Let's dive in. Here is the hook. If managers are the people making daily decisions about labor, food costs, service standards, and execution, why are so many restaurants still compensating them as if performance and ownership mindset simply do not matter? That is the core question this research tackles. And it matters enormously right now, because restaurants today are being squeezed from every direction. Wage pressure is up, ingredient costs remain volatile, and guests are far less forgiving when service slips. In that environment, a flat salary alone fails to create alignment between what the owner needs and what the manager is motivated to do. The paper's premise is simple but powerful. If you reward the right behaviors with the right metrics, you can improve profitability and hospitality at the same time. That makes the incentive plan not just a pay tool, but a strategic operating system for the entire restaurant. Now, before the paper builds its solution, it spends considerable time pointing out what goes wrong in the real world and why most existing approaches fail spectacularly. First, many owners tie bonuses to sales alone. But sales without margin discipline can still produce a losing restaurant. I have seen operations generating over $1,000 per square foot annually that are still hemorrhaging money because labor costs are completely out of control. Sales is a vanity metric. Second, some plans are so complicated that no manager can understand the calculation, trust the result, or change their behavior because of it. If your team cannot explain how bonuses are earned in 30 seconds, the plan is already broken. And third, perhaps most critically, even a well-designed plan collapses if the underlying numbers are inaccurate, delayed, or inconsistent. Once managers stop trusting the data, they stop trusting the plan entirely. So the gap is clear. Restaurants often have compensation and sometimes even bonuses, but rarely a transparent incentive system tied to controllable performance and backed by credible financial reporting. So what does the article actually propose? A three-step incentive architecture. Step 1. Choose financial KPIs that are industry standard, measurable, and directly tied to your goal. The paper specifically recommends EBITDA, or prime costs. EBITDA is powerful when you want management focused on overall profitability and owner-style thinking. Prime costs, labor plus cost of goods sold, are especially effective when margins are weak because those two line items are highly controllable and are almost always the primary source of the problem. Step 2. Layer in non-financial KPIs. Because here is the trap: a restaurant can cut its way into short-term profit while quietly destroying the guest experience. That is why metrics like secret shopper scores, online review ratings, and health inspection results are essential guardrails. And step 3, combine those metrics into a bonus formula that protects base salary, aligns with your actual business problem, and stays simple enough that every manager in the room fully understands and believes in it. Simplicity is not a weakness here. Simplicity is what creates buy-in. The paper's most valuable contribution is how concrete it gets. It does not stay abstract. It shows you exactly how the system works in practice. When analyzing the data, the findings are clear. If profitability is low, it is almost always caused by prime costs running too high, typically consuming 55 to 65% of sales when out of balance. The breakthrough is targeting what the paper calls ideal prime costs, the lowest possible labor cost that still maximizes guest satisfaction, matched with the precise theoretical cost of goods based on your recipe margins. In the Joe's Seafood example, Joe is drowning in 70% prime costs, so he sets a quarterly EBITDA hurdle of $75,000. Any profit above that threshold, 15% flows into a bonus pool. But here is the genius. That pool shrinks by 50% if online reviews drop below 4 stars, and by another 50% if health inspection scores dip. The remaining pool splits evenly between his executive chef and his general manager. The plan is not rewarding profit at any cost. It is rewarding disciplined profitability that still preserves the restaurant's reputation and the guest experience. And this is where the article becomes highly practical. The framework is designed to be tailored by role and by problem. If a restaurant's core issue is broad profitability, EBITDA may be the right anchor KPI. If the real problem is bloated labor and food costs, prime costs may be a better fit. If the executive chef has far more influence over back-of-house cost control than front-of-house service scores, then the KPI mix can and should reflect that reality. The paper also points clearly toward the tools and reporting systems that make these plans workable in modern operations, especially software that tracks recipe costs in real time and compares actual versus theoretical food costs. But the larger implication runs deeper than software. The paper argues that compensation itself becomes a management system. It directs daily attention, clarifies weekly priorities, and helps owners move out of daily firefighting and into what they actually want to be doing, scaling the concept, building the brand, and planning for growth. The real resolution in this paper is philosophical as much as it is financial. It reframes incentives from being a risky giveaway to being a disciplined way to create more value for everyone involved. The owner is not simply handing over profits. The owner is sharing upside that is earned through measurable, transparent performance. And that is a profound shift. It also points toward a clear future direction for restaurant operations in 2026 and beyond. More real-time KPI visibility, more role-specific scorecards, and in some cases, long-term incentives or equity participation for the leaders who truly shape outcomes over time. By leveraging clear EBITDA targets combined with non-financial safeguards, this system effectively transforms operators into visionary leaders, people who analyze the business with an ownership mindset because they have genuine skin in the game. The article is careful to note, though, none of that works unless the plan stays simple, understandable, and backed by accurate and timely numbers. The future is not complexity. The future is clarity with accountability. To wrap it all up, this article delivers a very clear message. The ideal restaurant management incentive plan is not just about paying extra money. It is about aligning people, numbers, and guest outcomes into one coherent system. Start with the right financial KPI, usually EBITDA or prime costs. Add non-financial KPIs to protect service quality and reputation. Then, keep the calculation simple enough that every manager on your team can explain exactly how performance turns into reward. If you do that, managers gain an ownership mindset. Owners gain the leverage to step back and scale, and the restaurant gains a far more durable path to profitability. The practical takeaway is straightforward. Look at your current compensation structure. Identify the real problem in your operation right now and design incentives that directly target it. That is how a bonus plan becomes a growth plan. Like and subscribe for more helpful videos like this. Connect with Forks for the experienced accounting professionals your restaurant needs. Details in description below.